everybody? It's your girl Sophie back here on Sophia's Football Talk for a very special stream as we are very close to Man United versus Spurs. I have to invite a very special guest. We have Ash from All About the WSL. How are you, Ash? Are you good?
I'm really good. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm so excited about the game. So I'm just excited to get into it.
Likewise. I think this is going to be a good one. People, make sure you do subscribe to Ash YouTube channel. As I mean, it's pretty clear all about the WSL. So it's linked in the title of this stream, but also in the description box. Give her a subscribe and all that good stuff. And also a subscribe to this channel. Like, because seriously, the likes do help to push the video out there for more people to see. Ash, let's just before we fully start to dive into you know, the actual game on Sunday, I would love to hear your thoughts about Spurs season so far. As we, went past a few games, what's your honest opinion about your season?
Honestly, our start was subpar. I'm sure as a United fan, you would agree because we're on the same points. But
Yes.
I do think that the underlying sort of trends in this Spurs form have been on the up. So
Yes.
for me personally, for example, that Leicester game we should have won. That Newcastle game we should have scored
Mhm.
more. Like
Yep.
there's so many games like that where we had so many touches in the opposition box, we had so many corners, we had so much going for us. The problem is that we weren't able to convert it, and part of that is just the lack of a natural goal scorer. Like obviously we miss Harry Kane, but everyone can't be Harry Kane. But even
No.
otherwise, just like this one person you can rely on every time. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that, and I wasn't a big fan when Dominic Solanke was signed, but
Okay.
I'm starting to change my mind about Solanke because I
Mm-hmm.
believe that he's the perfect player for an ant system. Like if you saw the game against Karabakh yesterday, yes, I know
I did.
it's a very bad opposition to compare to, but I will say this: irrespective of the opposition, his movement is good. His pressing
Mm-hmm.
is really good. He's a very solid physical presence, and if you see the two goals he got, they were proper poachers goals. Traditional striker goals. Like, and that gets me really excited because we haven't
Yeah.
had that profile of player for a really long time, including Harry Kane, because Harry Kane gets all sorts of goals. So and what we needed with like, obviously we can't replace someone of that caliber, but what we
Mm-hmm.
can do is get someone who helps the team out with the goals. Because I'm sure you'd agree with this as well, because United also lacks a genuine goal scorer that will
Yeah.
get you 25 goals a season, like
Yes.
like a Mo Salah or a Haaland, like that sort of
Mm-hmm.
person. And I believe that that's helped the entire team grow a little. That's what's responsible for our general upward trajectory, because the movement was there, the positioning was there. There was just that final ball, the final goal that was missing. There are still problems with set pieces, with defending, and obviously we
Mm-hmm.
play in an open manner. So the defending is always going to be slightly difficult. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think that I'm unhappy about the start, but happy about the upward trajectory we've been on for the last 1.5 weeks.
Okay, I hear it. And you did mention Solanke, but as with some of the other signings as well, or maybe overall with your transfer business, are you happy with it,
I'm
or do
unhappy.
you maybe?
Unhappy, so unhappy. Okay, I
Okay.
understand the reasoning. Okay, I agree with the reasoning. I think that
Mhm.
football is trending to become a younger and younger person's game because of the number
Yeah.
of games they play and the amount of fatigue that accrues over time. I mean, you look at
Hmm.
Sonny; he's a fraction of the player he was simply because of the fact that they're playing him in so many games. And so I understand the motivation to take your team to a younger age, but when you're doing that, I also need to see ambition. Sign the best that are like the best youngsters out there. And I think that we can just go up one notch in terms of those signings. I did like the look of Archie Gray yesterday against Karabag, but
Yeah.
that opposition will decide how your quality. So I'd like to
Yep.
see him play a bigger game and see what happens. Um, like there are Odebear as well. Now he's injured, so there's not much
Mm,
to see. But it looked like he was showing some promise, but he was also
agreed.
getting like physically outmanned in some of these games. Like I thought that in the Newcastle game, he was being bullied a little bit. So
Yep.
people go miss sometimes. These young players, they go missing for a while. So you have to sort of sprinkle in a little bit of experience into your squad. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand the trajectory of the transfers, and I don't dislike any of them particularly. I feel like we
Okay.
should have done more. We need more cover for Pedro Porro or Udogi, depending on which side you want Jet Spence to play.
Mm-hmm.
We need we need somebody who's like a CDM, because we don't really have a player who's like a Hoybier
Yeah.
replacement, that sort of thing. A number six. We need somebody. We need a more options going forward, especially because Timo Werner is not it. I disagreed with the keeping of Timo Werner. I think that was a bad
Yeah.
decision. So
Yep.
there are a lot of these smaller decisions that will come to hurt us. Like this game itself, it might hurt us because Sunny might be injured.
Yes. I mean, that is a huge miss if, he ends up not being available. That definitely won't be good. What about like Brennan Johnson, He's
Pardon me?
Brennan Johnson.
Oh, Brandon
What's your thoughts
Johnson.
about him?
So I was one of those people who was critical of Brendan Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
but that's because he's not the kind of player that Ange want like that can do what Ange wants him to do, which is hug the corner line and then cross the ball in, like the more
Mm-hmm.
traditional winger role. That's not Brennan Johnson. I mentioned this before, but I think of him as a sort of inside forward,
Mm-hmm.
who cuts in. So he's just not the player we were using him for.
Wow.
But also, I highly recommend this turning off your socials thing because it clearly seems to work for Brennan
Yeah.
Johnson. You can't argue with the results. Sorry, I was cut off for a second. 3 goals in 3 games. That's more than you can ask for. Yes,
Yeah.
2 of those games were Coventry and Carabag, but it still counts. Every goal counts, and
Of course it does. Yes.
with a little bit of confidence going into this game, I do feel like he might do better.
Okay. And with James Madison, is he
So
slowly getting back there, or like as they started
yeah,
this, when he first
he
came in, he
started
started off
really
very good.
slowly. It was very
Mm-hmm.
stodgy start, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think that Ange has revised his role tactically in the Brentford game. If you see,
Yes.
he played a little bit. He went a little like he got the ball from deep, and then he would like create the opportunities for the wingers. And I think that that sort of works a little better for his sort of natural talents.
Yep.
I also think that that's only possible because Dominic Solanke became fit. Because when Sonny is a striker, he's not like this large, overbearing presence in the center that's pressing. And so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't allow Maddison the opportunity to go deep and then create, because constantly you're having to like firefight with the defending, and so it doesn't allow the time for creation. So I think the coming back of Dominic Solanke really will help with Madison's form as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that that's what the difference was in the Brentford game. I don't know if Maddison will be able to pull off the same role in the United game, because United obviously are not going to sit back. I mean, I'm hoping that in Old Trafford, United are not going to sit back. But although oddly, it might help them to sit back to win. I mean.
It might maybe. What is your expectations for Spurs this season?
So obviously, top four will be very difficult. I mean, the chances of getting top four are really, really hard. Honestly,
Mm,
I would be happy with a fifth or a sixth if we could go win a trophy. Like,
okay.
we've got Man City in the Carabao Cup, and everyone's been
Uh,
moaning and grumbling about it. But it's actually a good thing, because if you can knock a team like City out early, the chances are you can go far deeper into the tournament. And the thing is, if you get knocked out by City, then you get some rest. So like, it works out either
yeah,
way. Like, if you're not going to win it, you might as well get out early. So it's best
true.
to sort of, like, encounter City now. And I think Europa, I think we have now a bench enough to challenge for Europa as well. Richarlison's started training on grass, so he'll be coming back.
Yeah.
Odebear is a longer injury, but everybody else seems to be sort of coming back. So,
Hmm.
and the young people, Lucas Bergwall, Archie Gray, they're all looking quite good. The My only concern is how dependent we are on Mickey Van der Ven. When he doesn't play, we generally lose. But
Mm.
I will say that Dragushin, even though he's made a few mistakes, I think he's not such a bad replacement for
No.
so it's for center back. So it's fine. I'm just hoping to get win a trophy. Honestly, that's my goal for this season. I don't care about the league. The league, as long as we can maintain somewhere in the top six, I'm happy.
No, I hear it. I think winning a trophy since it's been a while, I get it. Like for us, when we won the Carabao Cup last year, that was like the first trophy in 6 years. Like that felt good winning a trophy again because you almost feel like you've forgotten that feeling, and for you guys, it's even longer. So, hey, winning a trophy for Spurs, that would be great. And big up to the
Yeah,
people
I
that
mean,
are here.
unless
Big
you're
up to
counting
Nile.
the Audi
Yeah,
Cup.
that is a good point. Nile says, great show. Ash knows her football. She's on a brilliant Spurs channel. Yeah, big up. Big up to Lumba as well. Ash knows ball. Yes, she does indeed. Big up to everybody that's here. Once again, I remind you guys, like this stream and do subscribe to Ash YouTube channel. It is linked in the title, but also in the description box. If we move on a little bit more so to your thoughts as a Spurs fan, what do you think about Man United? I mean, obviously, we're on the same points, but I think we might be in a bit more of a messier situation with our manager compared to yours. But do you think that there's hope for Man United to salvage this season, or do you think that under a Ten Hag we just won't be able to? Like, what do you reckon?
I mean, there is hope for Man United. Even though it feels like y'all started really slowly. I did watch the Crystal Palace game, and I thought that
Mm,
there was something there. Like you were playing more, like offensive football. It
mm-hmm.
looked like like there was more control in the midfield. There were a bunch of chances. I mean, I think that you have the same problem we do, in the sense that there's a lack of a genuine goal scorer. So if you sort of like
Yes.
brought that in, I think you could make it work. Maybe in Jan, if you could go out into the market and get somebody, or you know I can see what he's trying to do. My only issue with him,
Mm-hmm.
I think, in that way, Spurs and United are similar, in that the management and the coach are on two different trajectories, in the sense
Yeah.
that, like, the first priority for Daniel Levy, and I'm guessing for Ineos as well, to some extent, is that they, like, the stadium has to be great, and all the commercial stuff has to be good, and all of that. And in somewhere along this line of PR and finance and marketing, the football
Mm-hmm.
has been lost.
Yes.
And what happens with that is, because every year teams are buying their jerseys, and like fans are buying jerseys and doing all of
Yeah.
that, it becomes hard to center the football again. And that's a really sad state of affairs, because you're diluting your brand by
Yeah.
by making it not about football. So I
100%.
really so my like I feel like United will first need to figure out their infrastructural issues, build that stadium, get all the infrastructure in place, and after that you'd see like if you want to go for the league, that it'll only come after that. Because like right now, to be doing two things at once, where you're spending lots on the stadium and all of that, but also spending on the team,
Mm,
even though you
mm,
have the money, they'll probably prioritize one over the other. And like that's what happened with Spurs. There was one season where we went without transfers. Obviously United won't have that, but like it's possible, like that's
yeah.
the
Yeah.
level it can go to. And so you cannot compete with a team like City, who's just a financial juggernaut, if you're not in it to win it. Like you have to be everything, all the money, all the sponsorship, all of it has
Mm-hmm.
to be for recruitment, for training, for coaching, and for like football. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, and to build your academy as well. So I think that
Yeah.
um, no matter your manager, you're going to face these problems. So why not Ten Hag? I mean, I would say currently in the market also there isn't someone who's so amazing that you'd be like sad to miss out on him. So maybe if you do want to change up on Ten Hag, then you'd have to wait for someone like that.
I think you're spot on. Yeah. Big up. People show you lots of love. Ash, come on now. Big up. Big up. Big up,
Thank you,
David.
Nathan.
Yes. Big up to Nathan. Big up. Big up. Yes. I mean, with Man United, it's frustrating, 100%. But I do think at some point now, the upcoming games, depending on how the Spurs games go, like if we, let's say you do win, and we'll talk about the score prediction afterwards, of course, but let's say you do win and we have like a really bad performance. That could potentially be his last game, or it could maybe be on the other side where it ends up buying him a little bit more time if we do end up winning. So we have to, of
You know,
course, wait and see.
I reckon the second one is more likely. I'll tell you
Hmm.
why I think that. Because
Yeah.
it's always happened with Ten Hag that, and honestly with Ollie as well, which is that whenever United are going through a bad slump or fans are getting on their back, they somehow play Spurs and they play well. It's really annoying as a Spurs
That's
fan.
funny.
Um, like, and that sort of saves that. Then they go on like this run and they save their job and things like that, and just
Yeah.
enough to be bad again, like after 10 games. But they always manage to do it against Spurs. It's very annoying. And especially at Old Trafford, like the only two times I can think of at Old Trafford where we really beat you is the 6-1 that Jose pulled off, and there was a lot of like a brute like there was a lot of like games like dark arts involved in that game. And
Yes.
and uh, 13 years ago, I recently learned this. Just the Sunday we're playing, that
Okay.
Sunday, 3-2 Spurs beat United 13 years ago, and Gareth Bale scored a goal. That was so. Those are the two times that I can properly remember. Apart from that, I
Oh,
can't really remember like us beating United at Old Trafford, like properly. So I
yeah.
just I and the thing is, we're really open, and I think
Mm-hmm.
United is a better counter, like team on the counter than we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling that, with us being open at the back, I can see, especially on the right, because nobody's going to win a foot race against Mickey Van de Ven. But on the right, I can see, maybe like our right, that Rashford or Garnacho managed to find some space and one-on-one with the
Mm-hmm.
keeper. It's just a question of whether they put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, since I mean, that is a great, segue into the game, actually. I mean, how do you feel now after, of course, yes, it's Karabakh, but it's still, being, because I was watching majority of your game yesterday, and being 10 men down from the 7th minute and onwards and winning 3-0. because Karabakh had opportunities. Let's not, kid ourselves. They did, but Vicario showed up here and there. Udogi was a great substitution when he ended up coming in. So um, and got it right yesterday. And so the players showed up. So especially
Yeah, I
with
think,
as well. Go ahead.
I kind of want to like talk about, like, a lot of people were saying, oh, Karabakh had so many opportunities. The truth
Hmm.
is that if we had sat back, there would have been lots of corners, lots of
Hmm.
set pieces, lots of fouls
Hmm.
out in and out around the penalty box, and
Yep.
that's our weakness. We would have definitely conceded to Karabakh if we were sitting
Yep.
back.
Hmm.
To me, it would have been a question of when and not if. Like, honestly, I would say play to your strengths. If you have the
Mm.
strength, Arsenal, if you have the strength to sit back 10 men behind the ball, then do that. But if you're
Yeah.
Spurs and you're bad at set pieces, you're bad at defending corners, and you know that it's the goal is coming, then maybe don't attempt that. So I think that it's
No.
uh, playing to your strengths is really important in cases where
Yeah.
you lose man. So I think that that was the only way we could have conceivably won. So that's the way we played. I don't think it's about Ange's philosophy also. I think that's the smart way also.
Hmm. No, I completely agree with you. It's about, like you mentioned, playing through your strengths for sure. So I think it's going to be, for the neutral, I generally believe, I think this is going to be a good one. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, it's going to be such an open game. It's
Yeah.
going to be mad.
Yeah, it's just with how both of us play, you're with your high line and us, sometimes we be completely unpredictable. You basically never know. But so in regards to like the team news, so we already, as you mentioned earlier, Son is kind of the only one that's in doubt, but otherwise, Odegaard is gone, of course, not available. Richarlison, but other than that, you would be having most of your players available. So how do you think Ange will set the team up in terms of the lineup?
It's probably going to be player for player, so it'll be the same lineup as Brentford. So Pedro Porro, so obviously Vicario at the back, because we only have one trustworthy goalkeeper. Then there'd be Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and then Udogi. And then in the midfield, he has a choice to make, but I'm guessing he will play, because he played Bissouma now, and I know that Bentancur is going to face a ban soon, a 12 match ban for racism, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I have a feeling he might start Madders and Bentancur, uh, and Kulusevski in the midfield. Or
Oh,
alternatively, it'll be Madders, Kulusevski, and Bissouma.
okay.
And then in the forward line, it'll be the same as Brentford, which is Solanke, Sonny, and on the left, and Brennan Johnson on the right. If Sonny is injured, then we have a problem, because then his replacement is Timo Werner, and I don't want to see him on the pitch. Like, I would rather they like stick Mikey Moore in there and see what the young kid can do. Like, anything is better than Timo Werner. Like, even if the kid does terribly, he will still be better than Timo Werner. So I
Yeah.
do not want to see Werner. United fans, if you see Timo Werner on the starting lineup, you can guarantee yourself that we are playing with 10 men, you are winning this game.
Yeah, I never rated a team of Werner, even at like, with Chelsea. I don't get it. Like he's fast and that's about it. You
Yeah, and the
know?
thing is, he's not even fast anymore. Like in the Coventry game, like he wasn't even fast. Like, I was just like, what is your point then? Like, where is Turbo Timo when you need
Right?
him? Like,
Like,
Chelsea fans, I'm sorry, like whoever came up with that nickname, um, it annoys he annoys me to no end, because he will waste time on the ball and he will do nothing with it. It is so
yes.
frustrating. Yeah, I can't stand him.
No, 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 no. I know, yeah. I mean, If Son doesn't play and you have to have Timo Werner, yeah, that that is an issue because I would feel comfortable with my defense. And speaking of Man United's team news, I mean, De Ligt was rested against, you know, FC Twente. And we had Mount finally back after Mount. That still pisses me off that we signed that guy. I don't want to be, I just it pains me, and that he has the number 7 shirt. It really makes me sick. But I digress. Hayden also, you know, came back. Of course, got some minutes. Ugarte. I don't know your thoughts about Ugarte. I like him, but he had a horrible game against FC Twente.
Yeah, I did see that. It was a stinker. It was quite bad. But Hoyland is back as well, right? Like, from what I've
He'll be
heard.
he should be available. Yeah, yeah,
So I feel like, but I feel like with United, it's not about the people who are coming back that you have to worry about. It's the players in the starting 11. Like
yeah.
Bruno Fernandes. I have been so surprised with the terrible form of Bruno Fernandes. Like, if he was
Jeez,
any other
Bruno.
player by now, people have been getting on his back. But I feel like because he's Bruno, everyone's just like, okay, let's give him more time. But
I,
how do you feel about that?
I just I felt like I've had such a just weird type of you know back and forth relationship with the Bruno. The way I feel about him has been okay. One time I feel like okay, I can finally like you again, and now I'm like, no, you're annoying me again. This is just it's not working. I when he lose the ball or just completely hoofs it to nobody, it pisses me off, Ash. I get so infuriated that it right now he's in very bad form. I would prefer him to be dropped. The problem is Ten Hag won't do that. If he does, it's gonna be, a Carabao Cup game. He doesn't really need to play. Or something in that regards. Other than that, he will have him play. He had him freaking playing, you know, in the FC Twente game and then moving on to the right wing for no reason, just to kind of shoehorn in a Mason Mount. What are we doing here?
Yeah, this is
It's,
this is my problem with Ten Hag. Sometimes he tinkers too much. Like, for example, when you're playing a team like Spurs and you select Ericsson and Bruno Fernandes together in a midfield, and your plan is to go on the counter, these are not players who can like defend. Like
yeah.
like your strategy is completely wrong in terms of your team selection. It's just, even against FC20, I thought that like, honestly, I thought some of their chances were better, and like they were playing the
Yes,
more
yes.
expansive football, and like
Yep.
that Dutch football that you would hire Ten Hag to play. I felt like FC20 were playing that. I mean, to be fair, I was also rating United on a higher standard than FC20, but because they're fourth
Yeah.
in the Eredivisie. But
Yeah.
I do think that Ten Hag, after 2 years of management, should be like decimating FC20.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like you cannot be playing two creative midfielders like Ericsson and Bruno
Mm-hmm.
Fernandes together in a team and expect that the midfield will work itself out,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
No, I agree. Okay, so since you mentioned that, how do you think we should be setting up, like in that midfield? So I agree with you. I don't think having like let's say okay, Kobe Menu, Eriksen and Bruno. No, I just mm-mm. For me that's not balanced. Yes, against the Crystal Palace, Bruno was the liability, but Kobe Menu and Eriksen worked very well. It was just Bruno that wasn't on it. That just proves that the balance is not working if one of them is just completely off it. So, how do you think we should set up that midfield then, in regards to the players that we do have?
So I think that definitely you should play Menu, and then you should play one or the other of um, Bruno and Ericsson. like you
Mm,
can't play both. I think to play
I
both
agree.
would be a luxury.
Mm,
Honestly, I'm trying to think. Um, so that's the thing. I'm trying to think of, like, you also don't have that like proper Rodri sort of player, right? That you'd need for a Ten Hag system to work. I feel
mm,
like you're also missing that.
we
Um,
are. Mm,
honestly, I'm really not sure. Um,
so
maybe
difficult.
I would think about yeah, I mean, honestly,
Like,
I'm not sure.
no, and I get it. I mean, we have an Ugarte, we have a Mino, we have Eriksen, we have Bruno. Even Casemiro is also an option.
Is Casemiro like fit?
Yeah, he's
Like
fit. He's
around
fit.
fit? He's fit? Oh, then I
Yeah,
suppose
yeah.
but he's really old.
Jimmy,
Um
you know what? He really isn't that old. He looks like he
then
that old. He really isn't, you know?
I would go with Casemiro. But I think Ugarte I've seen a little bit of. He's a slightly stronger physical presence as well.
Uh-huh.
So I think he might be better than putting Bruno and Ericsson together in the midfield.
Yeah.
I rate Kobe Mainu a lot. I think that as
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's young, but he's so talented, and his work rate is great, and he seems to play for the badge, and I respect that. You know.
Yeah. Also, what are your thoughts about a Rashford? Do you think that Rashford can turn it around? We've seen slightly glimpses of it the last two games, but you know, we do need to see more, of course.
Yeah,
You
maybe
know?
he should do what Brennan Johnson has done and turn off his socials because, like, I think that Rashford's just one of those, like, there's only so long that you can be a confidence player. When you're 22
Yeah.
or 23 and you hit a purple patch and you do really well, and everyone's like saying lauding you, and then if you run into some bad form and people say, oh, it's fine, he's a confidence player, we should build him up, we
Mm-hmm.
should encourage him, he's a young man, that's all fine. But now that he must be about 27 now. um
Yeah, he'll be 27 in October, late October.
yeah, so
Yeah.
when you're 26, 27, now you're the experienced player, you're the spine of this team, so
Yeah.
you don't have the luxury of saying I'm a purple patch player, I'm a confidence player, and
Mm-hmm.
like having these ups and downs in forms, especially if you're playing for a top club like United. I Because
Yeah.
everyone's so replaceable, and the only thing that's sort of keeping him uh, going is the fact that he'll hit a purple patch and he'll do really well, and also that he's
Mm-hmm.
an English player and he's a popular
Yep.
brand, and all of and he's a United, like a he's homegrown, all of that.
Yeah.
So I think that
Exactly.
that's what's sort of keeping him afloat. If it had been a foreign player performing at the same level, fans would have been at him much faster, especially because he doesn't help with the PR stuff, right? The partying and the whatever. I mean, I don't like to pay
Mm-hmm.
too much attention to that sort of stuff. But when it's
Mm-hmm.
affecting like when you're not performing on the field and that's also happening, it becomes really
Yeah.
like difficult to ignore it.
I agree.
So I kind of like Rashford. Like there's something about this. There's a there. You know what I mean? Like there is clearly talent there. Like and he all
Yeah.
like I've always seen him play against Spurs, and there was that under Conte, the one, I think it was Conte, the 1-0 that United had at the Spurs stadium, where
Mm-hmm.
Rashford, like I think it was Bruno who sort of supplied him, and he ran in and he scored that goal. Um, I was just like, what a goal, what a player. So when he does really well, he's just so pretty to watch. Like it's very like sublime. So I do feel like
Yes.
there is something there. Like there is a magic there. He just needs to grow up, get a handle on things, and just put like do the hard yards and show everyone that you can be United's main player.
I agree. I've had also like a very much a back and forth with Rashford, but like when he's good,
When
he's
he scored,
good.
he's so good. Isn't there? Didn't he score like 19 goals or something in the last season? He was really good that
Ye-
season. Wasn't it
Yeah,
19?
might have potential. Yeah, I think he. What was it in all comps? Was it 20? Nah, I think it might have
Help
been
us out
more.
in the chat.
27 maybe in all comps. Yeah, let us know, people in the chat. I
Like it
mean,
was in the late teens. It was a decent goal tally. Like it was
he
a
might have
big
been
number.
17 actually. I'm wondering. I could be wrong, but he scored a lot of goals that season. I know exactly what you talk about. I just can't remember exactly the number, but Nathan, Tulumba, let us know in the chat exactly how many goals I should say Rashi scored. But I hope he can turn it around. I really do want to. If it doesn't happen, then surely after this season, I think we should cut ties and he should go, in my opinion. Just because this
Yeah.
is kind of a bit toxic, you know?
Yeah, also because it might be good for him as well to sort of see
Hmm.
what else is out there. He's only ever played for United. Maybe,
Yeah.
he'll go somewhere else, find his form. He can come back as well if he does find hit his stride. So it's like
Hmm.
it's the case with most United players that they always have a home to come back to in United if they're doing well. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not everyone becomes Ronaldo, but um,
No.
it's still a possibility that he can go somewhere. He's still a young man. He's not too old. Now is the time.
Yeah.
I think value is also the highest now. So if
100.
United were
Yes.
to sell him, that's now is the time to do it. After he's like 30, 29 or something, then his value starts dropping. You won't even
Yeah.
get a lot for him in comparison.
Exactly. It's like pure profit as well, as he's
Yeah.
academy player and all of that. But
Yeah.
would like to also hear your thoughts about like a Zirkzee. I mean, obviously different
I
type of
like
striker
his link-up
profile
play.
to a Haaland. Go ahead.
I like Xerxes' link up play.
Yeah.
He has a lot of he helps out. I think
Yes. Mm.
that's commendable in a striker, but the main job of a striker is to score goals, and
Mm.
he looks promising, but he
Yeah.
hasn't shown me enough to suggest that he can do that main job.
Yeah.
um, it's great to be linking up play when you're Harry Kane and everybody knows you can score as well, but when you're just linking up and you haven't really put the goals on the board,
Mm.
uh, then that's not enough for a striker. Like
Yeah.
you can be any other position on the team and link up play, but not a striker.
Agreed. But because yeah, I agree with what you said, but like he's very good when it comes to link up. But I don't know about you, but I would like to see. I'm just saying, like once both Xerxes and Hayden up top. Just see what
Yeah,
that
that
work
would
looks
see
like.
that would work because one would link up and the other would be fox in the box and poach and score and all these things.
Yes.
That would really work. But I don't think Ten Hag can manage that because I just feel like the way you play, it's not designed to be a 4-4-2. Like I do you because you earlier you were trying to do that with Rashford, where you're trying to play him in the center as well, but he doesn't like that. It's not his preferred position.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't really working.
Mm-mm.
And like this, I think there's a sort of like this perception that two in the front is old fashioned. So there is just
Can
this.
we bring it back?
Yeah,
I
I feel like there's space for it now, especially because it's all about controlling space, right? And the best way to control space is to get a handle on that midfield. And, like all of these managers, all the tactics that they're doing to get handles on the midfield, like inverting
mm-hmm.
their full backs and, like having wing backs push forward, like Antonio Conte does, they're all to control the midfield. So if you're
Mm.
going to have four players in the midfield, that gets controlled. So I do think that there is like football's also in cycles, right, in terms of strategy, because like you'll see like the Spanish style of football, then you'll see the Italian sort of stodgy defending football, and that was in vogue, and Jose and Conte and all these people were winning trophies left, right, and center, and then that became passe. So like football goes through cycles. So let's
Yeah.
bring back two strikers.
Right.
That's the new campaign.
Exactly. You know what? Ash, that needs to be the campaign. Like, put up the
Yeah.
posters, bring that back, because I generally believe Zirkzee and Heylun together, instead of having them be like, okay, one will be on the pitch this time and then we'll substitute the other one. No, let me just once. But like you said, Ash, I think with Ten Hag, I don't think maybe he will be the best to be able to
Yeah, it
manage
can't be Ten
that.
Hag. It has to be someone else. Maybe
Yeah.
like maybe like a really old school manager. I don't know who's a really old school manager currently in the league. Um, Let me think.
They're old school in the
Um,
league right now.
I don't think
Ooh,
anybody plays 4-4-2. I can't think of a single manager who plays 4-4-2.
right. It's
Yeah, so
like,
maybe we don't know what's up because we're fans, because clearly nobody's playing it.
I say people say, "Are you sure about that?" Nathan said
Yeah.
it requires both wingers to move up and down the middle to be disciplined. And that's exactly why we have to. The thing is, though, what Ten Hag's been doing, it ain't working. It ain't working with leaving that midfield too exposed. So of course, if we're gonna try out the 4-4-2, then we need to be disciplined. That's why I'm telling you, people, bring in somebody else. And I almost feel like I'm at this point where I'm saying give it to Rude until the end of the season. Screw it. And if it's
I
somebody
feel
that's
like
going to
it's
be able to
too.
coach the
I
attack,
think it's too early, Sophia. It's too early to give up on your
no, no, no,
season.
no, no,
It,
no, no. It's just I'm tired of I'm tired of Eric. I'm tired of Uncle Eric. Sis, I'm tired. We're saying it's too early because it's a season, but the thing is, it's like you mentioned earlier as well, though, Ash. It's been 2 years prior to that,
yeah,
where we still aren't seeing, we're seeing glimpses here and there. And I backed him wholeheartedly the first season. Second season, I was thinking, okay, maybe, just maybe he can turn it around. He didn't. He didn't. And right now, I wanted to, now that Ineos was like, okay, we're going to back you. We're going to buy some more players. We're going to give you a bit more time. I've seen some games now. I'm tired already. I can't see this haram football no more. I can't. You gotta go.
yeah. I understand you like 100%. I get it, especially because but the time to make that decision was in the summer. Summer was not so long ago. It was like literally a month and a half ago, and you knew all of this information about Ten Hag then as well. If Ineos
True.
had to get off their butt and do something, they should have done it in the summer before the season
I agree.
started.
Yeah.
You could have started with a new manager and everything would have been
Yes.
hunky dory. The fans would have been excited. Everybody would have been in the stadium singing and chanting, and it would look like a whole different thing. But I
Hmm.
mean, now that you've decided that you're going to stick with him, like now, like you can't have there are only so many bad seasons that a club can take. So after a while, you start imploding, and then it's a backward slide, and you can already see that backward slide, right? You can see it beyond, like after, I mean, obviously since after Sir Alex left, but like more recently,
Mm.
they were like, until Ollie, United was guaranteed top four. Like even under Ollie, you were like second or
Yeah.
something. Um,
Yep.
and then
We're second, third. Yeah.
that slide has been a real slide where it's not
Mm.
guaranteed anymore that United will be in the top four. And that's a
True.
huge thing. Like that,
It is.
United fans have, like, it's just passed them by a little bit. And
Yep.
now they're competing with like teams like Villa and Spurs, etc.
Yep.
And that that makes me think that if you're going to implode one more season, it's not it wouldn't United will not fare well by having an implosion. So if you're going to sack the manager, ideally you would do it in the winter break, and then get someone in and hope you have a plan. Like, I don't think having an interim manager for the whole season now is a good idea. Like,
I hear
just
it.
personally.
Yeah, of course. And I value, that is your opinion. And come on. I hear it 100%. Big up to Jacob from United Spurs of America.
Hi, Jacob.
Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're doing well. And big up to, I see y'all comments, everybody. Big up. Big up to Eddie says, big up Sophia and Ash. I just came here. Otis' name again. Everyone hit the like, big up. No, it wasn't even like that, Eddie. We were just, mentioning how we were, this top four side, and now we aren't really even fully sure if we will get it now. It's not really completely. What's the word that I'm looking for? It's not really fully secured. We don't know, basically. It's not a given, you know? Um, do you think that we should have also, in terms of the transfer market, we talked about some of the signings, or before we go into that, what do you think about like a Mazraoui and Delict?
Oh, I kind of like Mazraoui. I think that yeah,
Same.
quite a talent. And Delict as well. He has like I think he's a really good defender. He lost his way a little bit earlier in his career, but I think
Yep,
he's sort of like finding his way again now. So he's sort
yep,
of coming into his own a little bit, and sort
uh-huh,
of managing that box better, and like his like organizing the back line better. I think that their understanding between Delict and Mazurai is great. I think that Delict also offers like both defending and offensively set piece. He offers
yes,
ahead. So that's always a plus. That was one of in Harry Maguire's worst days. That was his best plus, that he was ahead. Um, so I,
true.
I I do rate Mazraoui though. I think that he's great.
No, yeah, and I'm not gonna sit there and lie that when we were linked with them, that I instantly wanted both players. No, I was like, okay, especially with Masraoui, I like him, but the injury record, I was a bit concerned. But for the price, he's been wonderful,
Yeah,
great signing, and with the Ligt, he definitely has changed my mind. And I think like I'm content with how the back four is looking. It's just about making sure that midfield is secure, and especially with the attack, we have options, but we have to score more goals, as we talked
yeah.
about. And
Like,
no, go.
I'm not one for like XG, to put like XG in very like high regard, but I
Mm-hmm.
will say United being having the fourth in XG in the entire league is very deceptive, because if you
Yeah.
looked at that Palace game, at no point in that game uh, like there were chances for United, and United did everything well until the final goal. And like I reached halftime and I was just like, they're not going to score, because and in the FC20 game as well, I felt like there's just that final pass, the final goal, it's just not going to happen. And yeah, like I
Mm,
mentioned earlier, it's that lack of a genuine goal scorer. Like, how can a club like United that had players like Ronaldo, like none of, like, I'll be honest, none of your forward line gets into City or Liverpool in the first team sheet.
oh
None
no,
of them. And
no,
this is Manchester United. So that's like mad.
no. I agree with you. Like it, we have been known for years to have like such an amazing attack. Like you know, forget about people to be on the starting 11. We had like the bench was cooking. From the
Yeah.
class of nine. The treble winning side and the oh
Your
07, oh
beloved
08.
Ollie was also on the bench. Like, that was
Yes,
just
like we had literally super. Oh, it was on the bench. You have York and
yeah.
Cole. Like wow. And of course, later with the, '07, '08 team with, you have like Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney. Like,
Like heck,
excuse me?
Zlatan has played for United with Jose. Like,
Freaking hell, Cavani, bring me back Cavani, even though we got him a few
yeah,
years late.
Cavani is
I'll have him
great.
back. Cavani was amazing. Zlatan, a few years later, but I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Nah. We are, for the past, I would say 5 years now, we have been deprived with like the attack is just not the same. It's sad, but I hope we can get there. And I think with the likes of who we haven't really talked about, a Ganacho,
I
there's
like
potential there.
Garnacho.
I like him
There's a
as
lot
well.
of potential.
A lot of potential. He has to work on the decision making, and I think he'll get there. Needs to bulk up a little bit more, but I think he's progressed a lot. And I do like him, but I tend to really maybe enjoy him a bit more as a super sub. I know he wants to
Yeah.
play week in and week out. Of course, you back yourself. But I think with what he offers, there's something with when, you need a little bit more legs. You need somebody that can really be direct. You bring him on, 65 minutes, boom, and he cooks. Often. Thoughts about Ganacho?
Yeah, so what I like about Garnacho is that he's really creative, and like with his movement, he always tries to sort of do something different. Like that's why he's a great super sub, right? Because he
Mm,
changes the tempo of the game. He changes the
yeah.
rhythm of the passing. Like
Yes.
everything is just transformed just by his mere presence in that sense. And so if a team gets used to like playing against United on a certain tempo or with certain expected movements or passing, Garnacho comes and that changes immediately, and that's what I
Exactly.
love about him, that this player, and he's um like he still needs to work on the decision making, like you said, but like he's still young. That's an exciting
Yeah.
prospect that can be
Yes.
trained into a player. Like
I agree.
um and you can see the hunger there. Like there is a hunger to score, so even if the decision making is not the best, if that
Mm-hmm.
if there is ability and there is hunger, you can get, you can coach that. But it all
Mm,
depends on whether Ten Hag can coach that. That's another story.
exactly. It is. I mean, is he able to fully be developing the likes of a Garnacho, the likes of a Casemiro as well, who, if we don't, fix up, that's a player that he should not be here. He's too good. He will be too good for this team. He should not. I would love him to stay, but I just have to be honest. If we don't fix up at some point in the next few years, he'll be gone because he'll be too good, you know? And with Ganacho as well, he might be like, you know what? Let me go.
I mean, I worry about this as a Spurs fan. I understand this better than anyone because I worry about this with Mickey Van der Ven, for example.
Mm,
Like Mickey Van der Ven is a cheat code. That boy is like the fastest defender in the Premier League, bar none, including Kyle Walker since he's like old now. So like
yeah,
you know, uh, Mickey Van der Ven is just amazing. Like when you
yeah.
have him, you can play at the halfway line. He will run back and he will just
He's
make it.
so good, Ash.
He's
He's
so
so
good.
good.
Um, but the thing is, I know that if Spurs don't do like progress, if they don't win anything, yeah, I'm a Spurs fan.
Yes,
Sorry to
she is.
disappoint. Like I know we lose him to Real Madrid or like some other team that comes a knocking if we don't progress as a club. And this is what happened. Like United have not experienced this because they've been a really big club, but we've experienced this time and time again. Like we've
Yeah.
experienced it with Bale, we've experienced this with Modric, we've experienced this, like the number of people play Harry Kane even, like the number of players
Mm,
that we have lost to bigger clubs is just like at one point, it just like stems your progression. Like imagine Harry Kane in an Ant system. We wouldn't be talking about how difficult it is for Spurs to score goals. Like
agreed.
like the because when you're a team with the most number of touches in the penalty box,
Yeah.
you don't get a touches in a penalty box trophy. But like with Harry Kane there, every touch in the penalty box becomes a goal, and then that would have been amazing to watch. So
I agree.
it's really sad that that happens, and now United
Hmm.
fans are experiencing that. They're experiencing the loss of a player to bigger clubs. That's something that they like, apart from maybe losing Ronaldo, like apart from Real Madrid, who they've lost players to, I don't think there was a club on the planet that they were losing players to where they were like, oh my god, we can't compete.
Oh no, no. The next step is always like, or for often a lot of players, like the dream is to play for like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, right? And
Yeah.
we've been amongst that as well. Like, you know, players want to play for Man United, but at some point, if we don't fix up, players will be like, you know what? I'll be there, but yeah, we'll just maybe be a stepping stone, and that's about it. And I don't want us to become that. I want us for most players to become the final destination, basically. Before we wrap up, and before we go into the score prediction, because this has been a great show. I really enjoyed having you on. Great takes, great, 100%. Big up to NS Sports. Eddie says, I mean, you did talk a little bit about this earlier, but directly this question: when does Ash finally expect another trophy as a Spurs fan?
I'm an eternal optimist. I expect one every year. And I'm just like, this is the year we're going to win the Carabao Cup. It never happens.
uh, I mean, you could. It will be pretty epic. Like once it actually happens, that'll be like, whoa,
Yeah.
Spurs, okay. But you should be going for it. Like a Carabao Cup. Just because it's Man City doesn't necessarily mean that all hope is gone. Because you never know.
Oh,
Man City might
definitely
be like, you
not
know what?
gone.
Yeah,
Like, I think, like, if there's any big team we can beat when they're like away to Spurs Stadium, it's Man City because we've done it to
yeah,
them so
because it
many
is at.
times.
Oh my God, yes, it's at your ground. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, and they
Like,
might.
I'm
To be fair, they might be like, go ahead.
Yeah, because Rodri is out, KDB is out. There is a chance. If we get rid of Man City early, then like I said, we've knocked a big team out early. The fixtures will look better after City is
Uh huh.
out. So it just
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense.
I think it's gonna be a good game. I cannot wait. I think that's gonna be good. Oh,
Yeah.
but Ash, in
Yeah. Score
regards to
prediction.
yes,
So, like I
to score.
said, honoring the Sunday game 13 years ago that happened on the same date, the score was 3-2 Spurs. So I feel like it's written in the stars. It'll be 3-2 Spurs again. I have a feeling in my heart.
Okay. The thing is, though, I've also thought about 3-2, but I'm saying for Man United. The fact that you're saying, I ain't gonna lie, the fact that you're saying, like, okay, it's the anniversary, what was it, 13 years ago, that makes me a bit uncomfortable. That makes me a bit like, it's just whenever people bring up that type of fact, often stuff happens
Yeah, it's
against
bad
us.
juju.
Oh, we might actually lose this then. Oh, whenever the commentators or the pundits be saying, "Oh, this team have never won against Man United," or "This is they've never won at this ground before at OT," and then suddenly they end up doing it, or this player has
Yeah.
never scored against Man United. I remember when they were like, "Mo Salah has never scored against Man United." Since then, oh, he's been scoring. I
Yeah.
hate when the judge. No, no, no. Now I'm uncomfortable, but we have to wait and see. People, before we wrap up, do let me know your guys's um prediction as well. So Ash is saying 3-2 for Spurs. I'm gonna say 3-2 to Man United. I think it's gonna be. I mean, obviously, for what we're saying, the score will be. It'll be a high scoring game. I think so. But
Yeah.
since you're saying 3-2, who do you think will be the goal scorer in the game?
Well, for Spurs, I think I have to say Brennan Johnson now. That's
Yeah,
mandatory. Um,
yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that Sunny scores finally if he plays, if he's not injured, because
yeah.
he hasn't like started his season, like in terms of scoring. And
We're probably
I
gonna
would
see
like
this
to
again.
see, yeah, exactly. And I would like to see Solanke score because I'm a big anime fan, and his celebration is like he does two anime
Yeah.
celebrations, one's from Pokemon, the other from Attack on Titan. So I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like it when he
yeah.
scores a goal. So hopefully he'll score one.
Yeah,
And
I
for
like.
United,
Yeah, go ahead.
Rashford
And for
and
United.
Fernandez maybe having a comeback and performing well. Who knows?
Okay. So I also think Rashi will score for us, as I'm saying 3-2. I think Bruno might score as well. I'm gonna say like a delict corner
I see
header.
that.
You know,
You will
I
definitely
can
get
kind of see.
one goal from a corner because we will
I think
definitely
so too.
concede a goal from a
Yeah,
set
yeah,
piece.
yeah, exactly. You guys do struggle a little bit when it comes to that. So I feel like that will happen. Goal scorers for you. I think Solanke and Brennan Johnson will be scoring for you guys. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Nathan says, doesn't he do the Naruto one too with the Obito
Yeah,
mask?
yeah, yeah. He does. He does.
Oh, so that
But
mask
he's not
that's from a
like,
Naruto. Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
I think he like other generally he does the biting of his hand, which is like the Attack on Titan one, and the metronome, the Togepi metronome from Pokemon.
Oh,
He's done
wow.
the Naruto one also, but not for Spurs. I haven't seen it in Spurs yet.
Yeah, yeah. That's more so for Bournemouth, I think. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Whoa. I really like when players do, when they do celebrate that they put a little bit of effort and he puts effort in. I like it. I like it. I think it's dope. But Ash, this has been a wonderful stream. Thank you so much for taking the time of your day to join the stream. People, subscribe to Ash, show her some love. Make sure you do check out her channel, okay, as it is linked in the title, all about the WSL. Do you have anything coming up uh, on your channel,
Yeah,
Ash?
so we'll on Monday we'll do one episode on the doing a review of the previous game, the WSL game week. Honestly, as
Mm.
a Spurs fan, the only reason I started watching the women is because the men were depressing me, and United fans will understand that. So I
Yeah.
mean, you just beat West Ham 4-0. So if in the women, I mean, so if you're like really upset about the United men, you might want to check out the women simply because you're depressed.
I agree. I mean, I started to be, way more um trying to focus a bit more on women's football and I've enjoyed myself. Really, really. And I try as much as I can to watch the women's team as well, especially Man United. And hey, they've been making me happy sometimes. I mean, I'm not super confident with the Mark Skinner, but it is what it is.
Yeah, me neither.
But right, but I think some of you guys are missing out with women's football. You're missing out. That's all I'm gonna say. Give it a chance. That's all. But yeah, do check her out, and I'll be back live. I think I'll be back live tomorrow. Do I have anything planned tomorrow? I don't even. Regardless, yeah, I do. I will be doing reaction for. I know Bayern and Bayer Leverkusen are playing tomorrow, so I wanted to do a reaction for that, as I don't want this to just be about English football or Man United. Also, kind of like to do other leagues as well. So do check it out. Do also make sure if you haven't seen my newest Fantasy Premier League video, to use my wild card is all I'm gonna say. Do check it out. And if you want to win a football kit of your choice, do join the fantasy league that I have going on. But guys, we shall be seeing you guys in 100%. We'll have Ash back again in the future, 100%, because she's been amazing. So yeah, we need to clap. But guys, have a wonderful day, and we're out. Bye bye. Peace out.